Dear Jesus, establish us in your grace and strength, and help us to love and pray for those who persecute us. Well, my precious family, I want to give you an update on how we're doing. As you know, being taken off YouTube was traumatic, and because of your prayers and support, we were able to keep going in spite of this loss. But we all know God turns what is evil into good, and so we anticipating the best. I've heard from some sources that many of these channels are owned by the same group of people, meaning that you can only expect persecution. So we are planning for the eventuality of having to look for another home. But for now, we're here. Our ultimate goal is to have the videos on our own platform, but still have another public platform to expose us to the public as well. If any of you are deep into how things work, would you please send us some suggestions? Thank you so much. And now I just want to thank you for being faithful and help you to understand the last 3 weeks have seen many changes. Seasoned, deep souls have been ordained to follow in the footsteps of the apostles at the Lord's Supper. We have appointed another faithful soul as a bishop to reach out to those seeking ordination. He also is well trained in the basics of the Lord's Supper and can help some get started, answering questions and going deeper, really. If you're interested and have written to me, please forgive me for not writing back. Remind me, dear ones, in the midst of these changes, Ezekiel has been in some serious intercession for weeks. Sometimes the Lord lifts the burden and he feels great and is up and about. And for the most part right now, he is on his back in intercession with pains that have absolutely no correlation to anything in his body. It's just like he gets hit with pains in different places. And it's not about sickness, it's about suffering. It is quite amazing to see the joy he experiences in constantly being before the Lord, even when things are painful or difficult. He's also been visited by one of our prayer warriors. Some of you may remember MG, or Mary Grace. The first 3 years on the channel, she was very, very active, and she went on to be with the Lord. She came from heaven and stood beside his bed and spoke with him about the new name the Lord had given her, Christ Bearer. And she was covered in radiant light, with especially brilliant light coming from her heart. We decided to ask her to pray for one of our team who's in a coma and not expected to come out of it until Thanksgiving. The day after we made that request to her to join us in praying, the woman in a coma came out and was lucid and speaking to her husband. The doctors did not expect her to recover for at least another 3 weeks. And today she was discharged from the hospital and went home. How amazing is that? That's what I mean by working with the great cloud of witnesses. It is so important, so important, so amazing. This was a sign from heaven that our precious MG is interceding for us down here on earth. If any of you ask her to pray for an intention and you get a miracle, would you please let us know about it? If you haven't heard from me as much as normal, it's because of all the paperwork involved in organizing. And I long to be in touch with you every day, to read your replies, to be edified by your kindness. And it's been really difficult because the format on Vimeo is just not the same as YouTube. It's been very hard for me to distance myself temporarily from you to take care of church particulars. But it seems now that I'll be freer since the basic groundwork is laid and we have plenty of help. Please forgive me for not being online with you guys. I really miss you. But as you can see, it has been impossible with all that's been going on, even here in Taos with the appointment of another bishop who stayed with us for several days. He is a godsend, a very devout man, a heart dweller for many years, trained in Rome and serving in South America and the U.S. He understands the simplicity that we're striving for in our priests and in the Lord's Supper, and yet has a wealth of knowledge about how to go about certain things that need more wisdom than Ezekiel and I have. So that said, please pray for us. Thank you for continuing to donate as well. This move has hit our donations hard, and we are a little lower in income. We have several intercessors praying against the daily curses on our finances, and I believe the Lord has covered us because we're sacrificing for the poor, and He honors and protects our resources through these trained prayer warriors. And I cannot tell you how much work we have put into that music site that YouTube also took down, but you can find us on SoundCloud now, and we're trying to get all our music up there. Clare and Ezekiel du Bois, SoundCloud. Lord, please give them some fresh manna. Jesus began speaking, "Children, children, do not doubt this move of my Father, which is bringing together a new kind of priest to distribute the food to his children in the right season. I am so very tired of the scandal and disorder that has plagued my church, and I long for a church of victim souls, so humble they cannot lift their heads to point at another, so taken up with comforting and pursuing the lost with my love, they have no time or interest in theological discussions. Burning with charity, their hearts are set on bringing me to others and teaching the ways of love and dwelling in my heart. And as they are taken up with those tasks, have very little interest in money, expensive vestments, and elaborate churches. No, they are out in the ghettos, on the streets, in chat rooms, and on our channel, lifting up and encouraging the lost and hurting. With the advent of electronic communications, you can reach so many more souls. And for those of you ordained, you can celebrate my supper while lifting up their intentions, and I promise you, it will be very powerful to move upon the Father's heart, for you are having a memorial of what I suffered for mankind, and His heart is moved to its depths to see me that way once again. My blessed ones, we are in a war, not only for your nation, but for the whole world. We are fighting off the establishment of the Antichrist on earth, but there will come a time when you are taken and others are left to fight and protect, as the Antichrist moves forward to begin the complete control and annihilation of the world. You have only seen a very tiny tip of the iceberg when it comes to the control that will be leveraged on the world. In the meantime, do all in your power to spread the good news and the unconditional love I have for all of you who are so very, very dear to me. I bless you now with a heart that is persevering, long enduring, generous, kind, unjudgmental, always looking after the needs of the poor around you, and sincerely lifting my body and blood up to the Father in heaven to bring about the sanctification of many.